Welcome to the Borgen podcast, the only English language podcast about fictional Danish politics. On our show, we explore the people, events, and parties that make up the fictional Danish parliament on Borgen. I'm one of your hosts, Amy, coming to you from Istanbul, Turkey. And I am, as always, joined by my good friend and co-host, Chantal, who broadcasts from her room with a fabulous view in Toronto, Canada. And this episode is a bonus episode for season 1, where we are going to talk about the styling of the show, the look of the costumes, the sets, the interiors, exteriors, and all of those kind of visual elements that make up great television and cinema. Chantal, do you want to start or shall I?
I'm happy to start. So yeah, I mean, one of the things that we noticed when we were watching season 1 is the minimalism and simplicity of the sets.
Yes.
We found that the emphasis was on really strongly on the character development, the plot, the excellent writing and directing. We started talking about, in preparation for this bonus episode, we started talking about the main sets that we see. So Brigitte's home, where we spend a lot of time in their home scenes. We mainly in the living room and in the kitchen. Her home is simple. The kitchen and the living room are where the most of the scenes take place. And I kind of like that because to me,
that's where all the actions in the home take place. Well,
yeah, that's true.
We see some of that too, but not at the end of the season.
No, not in the end of the season. No, but to me, if you have strong writing and directing and characters, you don't need to go above and beyond with extravagant background. And you know what I mean?
I really like the interior of their house. It's not a very big house. Evidently, it looks to me, I mean, it's sort of hard for me to piece everything together, but like there are French doors in the inside that
separate the bedroom from the
bedroom from the living room. And also Magnus's room has French doors and it's on the lower floor too, I think. And Laura's room is upstairs and we don't see the upstairs of the house.
Right.
I don't think.
No, I don't think we ever see the upstairs.
Yeah, we see the stairs and just the lower floor. And I'm pretty sure Magnus's room is on the lower floor. And they have a yellow L-shaped sofa, which I actually would look really good in my house. I have dark blue walls. It would go really well in my living room. And with my orange tone carpets and my orange tone cat, she would match that sofa perfectly. But yeah, I really like the openness. I like the light in the kitchen. I like their furnishings. You know, this is going to sound really funny, but one of the items in their house that I really like is the plastic box that they keep cereal in.
I don't like it.
They don't have cereal boxes. They have like a plastic bin like a rectangular upright bin, like an obelisk. Yeah. And I really like that. And I like all the French press coffee makers too. Everywhere is French press. And I'm like, those people know good coffee.
I also take to their house because, I mean, you've been to my apartment, you've stayed here when you visited Toronto.
Yes.
I live in a very, you can consider my place almost like Katrine's place, which we'll get to in a little bit, but it's simple, it's functional, and I also I lived in New York for 4 years. I also have that New York mentality of life is on the outside and pre-pandemic. Going out everywhere all the time, literally used my place to come and eat, sleep, and take a shower. And it was time to go again and spend 12 hours outside. So for me, it's not so much the size, it's the utility of the apartment. And it's how it functions for me. And the saying is, you don't live for a house, the house lives for you. So it suits my needs, just like in Brigitte's home, it suits their needs, right?
Yeah.
And then when we see Brigitte at work, so getting the job as the PM and moving into that beautiful space, I think the office, and this was your point, Amy, a while ago when we were talking about the earlier episodes together offline, that you had noticed and observed that the office is a character all by itself.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And it's like even the art, like the whole thing with the art that gets changed when she takes over as PM and like wants modern art. And then she ends up with this really weird, almost obscene, futuristic avant-garde stuff. And she's like, not that modern. And it's like slightly obscene. It's so funny. That's one of the funnier scenes in the beginning. But yeah, Brigitte Nyborg, States Minister, is like that character lives in that office. That's where that character is centered, and her great big desk, and she has her meetings there, and like the two sofas with the coffee table in between. But it's a very powerful space. And I think at the beginning of the show we see it's Hesselbo who's PM, right?
Yes.
And that's his office, and then it's not anymore. And like I like that as well. And oh, by the way, your apartment is bigger than Katrine's. Katrine only has one room. You have more than one room. It's nice.
Yeah, that's true too. But going back to Brigitte's office for a second. So like, I know the feeling I get when I see her sit behind the desk. I feel her might and power,
Yes.
And I feel, as you were saying about all the different spaces, like, she took meetings with Krohn, who was a big guy in Denmark, very powerful businessman, in that office, in the sofa, when it was my episode and we talked about the Prime Minister of Tunisia that came to visit. A lot of their conversations took place on that sofa in that office. And we see also meetings with her ministers take place in the sort of table space in that office.
And the same with the Greenland guy, where he's like, yes, so you're going to give me coffee. You're going to tell me that you're going to give me what I need. And then I'm going to go away and you're going to forget about us.
A lot happens.
And like,
but it's not always good. I mean, that's what you get sometimes. Difficult conversations and situations and nerves. I mean, let's not forget how nervous she was to meet Krohn. That was a night thing. She had gone home. She had, like fixed herself up, come back to work. She had coffee with him on the couch there. So yeah. I do feel her, like I said, her might and power as a prime minister in that office. I like the space and all the people that come to visit her, a lot of scenes where pivotal stuff and decisions are made happen between her and Casper. Oh, your kitty's joined you.
Yeah, she loves Zoom meetings. This cat is like, when I was doing Zoom lessons from home, I'm a teacher, again, just for those of you who haven't listened to us until today, which I don't know why you would, but anyway, this kitty is a Istanbul street cat who a friend of mine found and gave to me. I have another cat too, who's a senior cat who was the product of a broken home. But she also came to live with me. And this one had guest spots during my online lessons. So it would be like Fridays, it would be like, okay, kitty time. And I would like see how she's growing and stuff.
Yeah.
So she was bigger. Like, yeah, she was about to like knock the microphone over. So I just picked her up. So if you hear weird cat noises in the background of this podcast, it's her. Yeah. The senior cat is like, I don't talk.
Well, I don't. Well, we're welcome. We welcome her to join us in our conversation and be our live audience, audience, Amy. Okay, so moving on to another place where we see Brigitte and her family go to is Marienborg. So Marienborg, this is where they go. It might have been episode 8 where they go there for a family trip, and it doesn't.
Yeah, it's like it's the PM's summer residence, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And it's like in most countries, I guess, where like the prime minister's office has specific residences.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. I mean, in Turkey, you get a whole palace with a golden bathroom, apparently. So, I mean, I don't know. That's a rumor. But there's all these specific buildings intended for the leadership. Oh, and one more point before we touch on that again, as you said, like apartments in New York function as a place to like keep your stuff while you live your life. In Turkey, it's the same. Like a lot of younger people, their social lives happen in, drinking tea and coffee with friends in cafes. And it was a real struggle culturally for a lot of people here to not have that during the pandemic. And now there's like sidewalk seating. So and it's quite warm here, of course, Mediterranean. So people are able to sit outside. Yeah.
And get some of that back.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a big thing here. So for sure, your little apartment serves you well. And then you go out for your friends. Serves you
well. As you know, Amy, you've been
one's little apartment.
I've had so many parties here.
Yeah.
Halloween parties.
Legend.
And pride parties. And I had a St. Patrick's Day party here once, and birthday parties, and it's fantastic.
It was one day. We'll do it again one
We'll do
day.
it again one day. Yeah. But going back to Marion Borg. So for me, the first time we met Marion Borg, it felt very stately with
Yes.
the staff there. And I felt that they have all the staff that worked there had the utmost decorum and respect for
Yeah,
Brigitte.
it was very
To
formal.
serve her family. Yeah, like they were dressed very formally and they had a
Yeah.
strict protocol of what they're going to serve.
Yeah, like Philip and Brigitte get there and like, yeah, we'll just get a pizza. And it's like, but it's roast beef.
Mm-hmm. Well, he
And
says
it's like,
that's his idea.
yeah.
Brigitte is all ready to listen to what the plan is, but he's the one that's being, a little more uneasy with it and wanting to just do whatever he wants, not realizing that you don't go into the PM's residence and make rules up,
Yeah.
So,
Although I don't see why not. Why couldn't you? You're the PM. Just no,
I
we're not
guess, but
doing that.
it's nice to be served too. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
I would
true.
love to go to a place like that where I had staff serving me and,
I know, right?
luxurious things on the menu that I would not be able to make myself, and clean up after me in a clean space to, people make your bed up, and that's fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah, so over to Katrine's apartment now, as we touched upon a little earlier. Both of us agree we like the simplicity of it, the minimalist, and as I said, much like living in New York.
And with like interesting Euro accents, like she has interesting light fixtures. She's got a like a proper Italian espresso machine. It's like the only appliance in her whole house is like a coffee maker and like a tiny
she's got the
little
essentials,
kitchen.
right? I mean, coffee is important, and like it works very well. So in the space that she sleeps in is also her office. She's got a big Mac desktop set up there, and that's where she I guess writes her articles and edits things and takes phone calls as she's working from home. And she has a very like minimalist, eating area. We see her host Hannah there. Hannah's come over to visit her and chat, and
Benjamin.
Casper. We've seen Casper, her friend, coming over to, chat to her and stuff like that, and try to understand why she doesn't like him and all this sort of stuff. And then we see Benjamin, who she's seeing, that's the trainer. He's over at her place and spending nights and whatever, but it functions.
Yeah, and bringing takeout home, which is so nice. Like, I love those scenes. I'm obsessed with television takeout meals. Like, I am obsessed. Every time somebody orders something, I'm like, where'd they order that from? Like, if I lived in that neighborhood, would I be able to get that? Like, even in episode 9, like I didn't speak about this in our episode 9 episode, but Casper and Katrine meet for lunch, and they have these excellent looking takeaway sandwiches with like really good bread. And like mineral water. It's like San Pellegrino water. And I'm like, I would eat that for lunch. Like, and they're in this nice park, and she has like this really nice beige blazer on with like really good jeans and like a really nice shirt. And I'm like, I'm totally in envy of her outfit. And then she and Casper actually end up yelling at it. Well, she pushes him about what's happened with her father, and he confesses that he was just this loser and like a horrible person, and that he hated his life with him. And he's been to a psychologist, and like, that's just the way it is. And this is why he's broken. Basically, he pretty much not completely confesses everything to her, but it comes close. Yeah. And so like, there's a bit of a breakthrough there, and we don't see the repercussions of that conversation until season 2. And like a bit later, but like, I'm so obsessed with those meals. Like, anything people eat on TV, I'm obsessed.
Yeah, it's because it's a reflection of what's available in their city and what we can have if we visited there. And what does someone eat for lunch, or what's popular to order or quick. But another reason why I like Katrine's apartment is because this is where a busy career woman lives.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is the appeal of where I live as well, which is I don't want to shovel snow. I don't want to rake leaves. I don't want to plant flowers. Like, these things don't interest me. So again, for me, this is in my life and in Katrine's life, this is the apartments that function to facilitate this urban life and lifestyle. Katrine and
and in Europe too, people don't like single family dwellings are not nearly as common as apartments are. It's just the way it is in Europe. Like, most, even families will live in an apartment. Like, for example, my apartment, the house owners, my landlords live in the apartment underneath me and in the front. I live on the back of the building. They live underneath me and in the front of the building.
Mhm.
And this is their apartment. And like my landlord's mother used to live here. I mean, she passed away. I don't know if she died in this apartment or not,
Mhm.
but I haven't gotten any weird energy. And so if she did, she's like, my plants grow really well here. And
Yeah.
I know she had a garden. So
Friendly,
if
yeah.
she's present, it's helping me.
Mhm. Good.
And yeah, and like they're really lovely. And that means like that's quite common in Turkey. Like families will live in one building or one building site
Mhm.
and like close to each other because family is very, very important here.
Mhm.
And so, you know, but like for a family to live in like a house, the house, if you have a house, it's in the village, you know?
To me, yeah, it's outside of the city. To me,
Yeah, outside the city.
As I said, you know, I grew up in biomedical research. I had a career there for 15 years. I worked with all international people, and that was one of the most fabulous things about that job. That meeting Canadian people there that were born and raised, and when I lived in New York, even all of us were new to the city. I did not work with another American person. There was it was about 6 of us in that lab, and we were all from different countries, which was fantastic, you know, to share and offer what do we eat or what do we drink at this occasion. We celebrated all the holidays together because we were kind of like, you know, orphans by ourselves working.
Yeah.
But getting to know all these people and then, of course, becoming friends with them and traveling to visit them in our post-life lab or post-lab life. You know, traveling to Paris. I've been to Hungary a couple of times to visit someone. I've been like wherever I go, that's one of the things I notice as well. And this idea of having a big house. Oh, now I'm married and I have children, so I need a big house is I think a very North American.
It's totally North American.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a completely North American concept.
People don't do that in other countries. And in fact, I think it's over the top to want to have this like big house, and it's all a waste. I mean, you know,
it uses up a lot of resources. I'll tell you that.
Well,
you know?
It's a lot of time. It's a lot of cleaning. It's a lot of maintenance. And personally, I'm not into that at all. I want a very like small place that serves me well. I don't care about square footage. I don't care about whatever. So it serves well. So moving on now to TV1, which is another place of ours.
There's one detail in Katrine's apartment that I want to mention.
Please.
She has a poster on her closet door of All the President's Men, which is a 1970s film with Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman. And it is about the Deep Throat Watergate story. It's about Watergate and Woodward and Bernstein, who were two very, very famous journalists who exposed Nixon and the Watergate scandal. And it's a fantastic film. And it is so perfect for a keen young journalist to have that poster and like know that film and know those two journalists and like want to be like her investigative drive is like, that's her inheritance. Like she's linked to Woodward and Bernstein. And I thought that was like such a perfect detail. But if you don't know the film or you don't know that story, you wouldn't necessarily know that. But there it is.
And it's a nonverbal way for Katrine to communicate to the viewer that this is where her interest lies.
Exactly.
Right? Like her level of journalism and interest in this profession is not, let's cover the story happening at the end of the street, you know, or in a local school. It's a lot broader than that.
Yeah, that was a national scandal. Like she's in the PM's office. She's interviewing the prime minister. This isn't like, you know,
small town newspaper.
Yeah. You know, like moose wanders into a schoolyard. It's not like, you know,
no.
Those kinds of stories actually happen in Canada occasionally. But yeah, I mean, I guess they could happen in Denmark too. They probably happen in Norway, I'm sure. But like, you know, it does show her ambition as a journalist. And I thought that was really interesting and appropriate.
Yes.
And if you can hear background noise now, both of my cats are going crazy because it's like run around time. It's 9:30.
Okay. Yeah. And it's 1:30 here.
9:30
p.m. Everyone knows. Yeah. All right. So should we move on to TV1 now?
Yes, let's.
Okay, so TV1 is another place that we like, and that a lot of our scenes take place, and it's a very busy and fast, productive place. As I said in previous episodes, I like the team huddle in the mornings with Torben leading the team huddle to figure out what they'll present of the news that happened overnight and of the morning. And who will get to take on the stories. And I enjoy the scenes in the control room, because we also, when Katrina's reporting, and this is one of the big fights that her and Torben had. This was the time, Amy, you talked about it in episode 9, where Katrine removes the earpiece.
Yeah.
Right. And she wanted to ask a lot of her own pointed questions of high profile people that she was interviewing, such as when she had Brigitte in her, right in front of her. And this is in the control room, is where Pia and Torben.
Yeah, Pia's the director.
Yeah. So they would be like yelling on Katrine, don't ask that, wrap it up now, hurry up.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of control that happens from that control room, and essential communication. So
exactly.
What do you think about TV1?
I love it. And I like that it's one of those open concept offices, but it's very techy. Like everybody has good computers and
to work. And
space to work, and it's in a really modern building. Like the exterior is really modern, and if you like Torben, both Torben and Katrine smoke, so they got to go up on the roof and smoke up there.
Yeah, there's
like I'm a
roof.
I'm a non-smoker, of course. Like I don't smoke because I think it's horrifying, but like the fact that they're like that they still do that, it's like it's so like dirty, like it's like this dirty secret that they have, and it's one way that they communicate, like something they have in common.
Yeah.
So it's also they go up there to think.
It's also a private meeting space, because there are scenes with Katrine and Torben up on the rooftop, like in the episode, I think it was my episode, where they interviewed that soldier that was giving them intel on the planes that were coming into the planes that were going to Greenland, I think.
To Greenland, yeah.
And they had a lot of heated conversations about, should they air the interview? Should they interview this guy? Should they trust this source? And there were a lot of heated discussions that her and Torben had together upstairs on the roof. So I forgot about the roof. Actually, we do see the roof a few times.
Yeah. And the other interesting feature at TV1 is the bathrooms are genderless.
Oh, are they? I don't remember.
Yeah, you see men and women walking in there all the time. Like I think Hanne walks in on Ulrich, I think. And like, it just seems like an open concept bathroom. And I thought that was so progressive and interesting. Mm-hmm. And the only other place I've seen that is at Galerie Lafayette in Paris. I just had my semester break, and I know it's the pandemic and everything, but like I had plans to meet a friend there, and I ended up going there by myself because of topsy-turvy planning. But at Galerie Lafayette on Champs-Élysées, like you walk in, the bathrooms are like gender free and fantastic. And it was just like really, really interesting environment. And I was like looking for like, where's the other side? Like what side is, and it's like, this is the only place. Oh, that's so cool. Mm-hmm. And like enlightened.
Genderless bathrooms, which came to it came to Toronto a few years ago, I would say.
Yeah.
In museums and galleries, I noticed, and also in certain bars or things like that, usually in the LGBT area, not in the straight area. It's more progressive, where it's genderless. It doesn't really matter if it's man or woman.
Yeah.
So,
And that was one, and that's another place where conversations happen, right? Like in the toilets, and also like in the hallway, like by the coffee machines and stuff. I think that's where Hannah actually passes Casper information about the book. Yeah. She's like, you dropped a paper.
Yeah.
And it's her paper. She dropped it.
Yeah. And it was the list of names.
That have people that are mentioned in
that. Casper should follow up on if he wants to get his hands on the book. Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought that was really cool as well. And I like TV1. Like I would like to work there.
Yes.
And get those really good sandwiches.
Yes. And work under the direction of Hannah. That would be amazing.
And have a gym with the hottie Benjamin in my spin class. That would be nice.
Oh yeah, they have
Insane.
it. I think the gym is in TV1, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, they have a gym. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
so
in
cool.
a newsroom, the staff is working all sorts of hours. They don't have
Yeah.
time to go to another gym. It's fantastic that it's on site. So yeah, so let's move on now to wardrobe, fashion, lifestyle. So
Yes.
Brigitte, to me, she's always well dressed and professional looking. We never see her in relaxed clothes. I think we may have seen her in a robe or something in the earlier episodes of the
Yeah.
season.
I think we see her in track pants in like one of the early episodes when she's kicking back with Philip at home. I think they make out.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and
I
he's
think so.
casually dressed too, but they're usually as their relationship deteriorates, their clothing becomes more formal
Mhm.
over the course of the season. And like I have to say, for the female cast members, jackets, jackets, jackets.
Oh yeah,
I want to steal all the blazers, and like some
me
of the
too.
stitching on Brigitte's collars and like her blazer collars is just like impeccable.
Mhm.
Everything is perfect. And I know it's TV and I know they have like a wardrobe person to like tailor things and like put people in
Mhm.
good clothes. But my God, Katrine's wardrobe, Hannah's wardrobe, and Brigitte's wardrobe, I want a combination of those things.
Mhm.
Probably Hannah's would be perfect for me.
Well, our
I stole her look. Look at
well,
my,
if listeners go to our website, you're going to see Amy and her Hannah Home outfit or
yeah,
home outfit.
my top Hannah Holm outfit with a gray blazer and a pink and gray scarf. That picture came from a Model UN conference because I'm the Model UN coordinator at my school.
Mhm.
And I do that with the kids. And so we have to dress up as well. So I may or may not have intentionally dressed like that. Let's just put it like that.
Well, I think it's a fitting picture for our website. My picture was, we started this project together, the podcast in the pandemic. That photo that I use is right after I gave myself a haircut. I cut
Yes,
my
that's
own
right.
hair.
Yeah.
I cut my own hair a few times during this
That's so brave.
pandemic, and I was very proud of my job because I'd never cut my own hair
Yeah.
before. Many people had to cut their own hair in the pandemic. So
Yeah.
that profile picture of me on our website is actually me like 30 minutes after I cut my own hair. I'd gone to take a shower to wash it and shampoo it and style it up a bit. And I thought, this is the photo I'm going to use because it's a current photo. It's not me from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a current photo, but it's also a silent joke to myself that, oh my God, I started a
Yes.
podcast in the pandemic and now I'm using pandemic hair to like
Pandemic hair.
advertise myself. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I just didn't cut my hair and I had short hair before the pandemic and now it's long. So there you go. I had
everyone
and
is,
by short hair, I mean like boy short, like
yeah,
very short
pixie
hair.
cut,
Yeah, pixie cut. And now
short.
it's like a shaggy bob. So there you go.
Yeah.
But I have had it cut by a professional recently. So there you go. Yeah. Because yeah,
So
we're able to do that here now with our triple vaccines and stuff.
finally allowed. Yeah, same here. Although for a joke, I may cut my own hair again because I definitely needed a cut.
Why not? If
Why
you're
not?
good at it, do it.
Why
It's
not?
cheaper.
It's cheaper. I don't have to go to the appointment, I just do it
Yeah.
myself. And I can't really screw it up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's at that right length. I know friends that have shorter hair, they're afraid to cut their own hair. But for me, I think it's an adventure. I think it's fun. Why not? If you mess it up, laugh about it. I work from home now anyways. No one really sees me. And you can they're good enough for Zoom for your work calls,
Yeah,
So
exactly.
just to finish up about Brigitte at home. So I think even at home, sometimes when we see her, even when she's at home eating meals, she's still in her PM clothes. And of course that represents that she may be home just to have a bite with her family for dinner, but then she's getting ready to go back to the office
she's never off duty.
She's never off duty. So she's always in work mode and she's just home to eat, you know what I mean? Spend time with the kid. So let's move on to Philip now and talk about his wardrobe. And I think Philip always dresses like a businessman. Even when he's taking the kids around, he's wearing a suit jacket and a button-up shirt. And I always say to myself, why? Like, this is so ridiculous. Why not wear dad clothes,
Because he's a European dad and European dads don't dress like schlubs. I'm telling you.
Well, I think Europeans in general don't dress the way North Americans dress,
No, they don't. It was,
yeah.
Even in Istanbul, there's a lot of different people from a lot of different income brackets living here. And lots of different, there's a lot of, my neighborhood is kind of a bohemian neighborhood and it's pretty alt culture-y. And like, you can see some like hippie looking people or some punky looking people or some, like gender bending people and like gender fluid people here, which is very cool.
Mhm.
But the general kind of business look is quite formal. Like, it was a big revolution when we were allowed to wear jeans. Like, this is a new thing
remember
at
that.
yeah.
You told me about that. And I
People
guess from
dress more formally.
yeah,
Yeah.
they dress more formally. Yeah, for sure.
Even dads at like, like I said, it was just and like, I know it's Paris and it's like fashion city, and
Yeah, the
it
center of
was fashion week. It was fashion week when I was there. So I saw some pretty hot fashions, but
Mhm.
like, even dads at the park, like, even if they're in casual sports clothes, it's still fashionable casual sports clothes.
Yeah, and
Like,
expensive.
everybody pretty, not
Expensive.
always, but like put together, like
Yeah.
put together.
Okay.
And like, there were a few older, like not older, but like my age, people my age in the subway who, like, I looked, there was some head turns. I was like, who is that zaddy? Like some like nice coats, good footwear, properly dressed people. And the young people all look cool too.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's a different kind of style. So Philip's dad style is very Euro dad. And he'll wear like a blazer and like jeans, which is like, blazer and jeans always looks okay to me,
Mhm. Yeah.
done properly. Yeah.
Yeah, done
So
properly with a properly fitted shirt, not something
yeah.
that hanging down to someone's knees and that's
Oh
too
no.
big, but proper fitted clothes that come together nicely is always attractive on a man or a woman.
Yes. No cargo pants.
No cargo pants.
Nowhere. Yep. And um even Benjamin, the sports trainer, even he looked well dressed, even when he was at the gym.
Mhm.
Even Katrine's gym clothes are nice. Like, it's just nice. And everybody has good hair
Yeah.
on this show. Like, Brigitte's hairstyles are great. Like, there's one where it's like obviously in
And
a
out,
ponytail and then like
updo.
turned up and fanned out. Yeah, it's so cool.
Mhm.
And like, the men's haircuts always look fresh. Like, it's so nice. I mean, I know it's TV and like, they have people who make it look this way. And like, in real life, it's not necessarily that way, but it's so like, I think Philip has a really nice like look,
Groomed. Yeah, he has a nice groomed beard, and so does Casper.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not this like shaggy, unkempt, I haven't seen a trimmer in, days and days. Like
Yeah.
hair loss.
Yeah. There's no squirrels living in there.
Yes. And the last point I had that I'd written down in preparation for this episode here was Han, which we've talked about, her great scarves and blazers and jeans.
Yeah, the
And to
scarves.
me,
Yeah.
also what makes Han sexy to me is the way she carries herself and her
Yes.
intuition and her skill and experience and her fearlessness,
Confidence.
confidence, her fearlessness to speak out and say,
Yeah.
what about this? Why is this person having a meeting there? Why are they late on making this announcement? Like, she's
Yeah.
just a consummate professional in what she does. And
Exactly.
also that she shares that with Katrine and inspires
Yeah.
Katrine to be a better journalist.
Yeah.
So,
And I love her eyewear as well.
oh yeah.
She's got like boss bitch glasses. It's so great. Like, she just carries herself so well. And like, she knows what she's doing. There's no doubt.
Mhm.
Like, why question her ability? Why question her professionalism? And she certainly knows which questions to ask. She pushes all the right buttons.
Yeah.
And sometimes to the derision of her male colleagues, but it's obvious that they, like, I think in journalism and like other kind of, professions where you have to be outspoken, that's part of any person's job.
Mhm.
I think women get the short end of the stick, because as soon as a woman's outspoken, it's like, oh, why are you so bossy and loud?
Yeah.
Whereas
Why are
when
you
a
so
man does it,
emotional?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or how dare you ask us that question? Like, sort
Yeah,
of
why are you being so
stay in your
pushy?
place. Yeah, stay in
Yeah.
your lane and don't ask that.
Yeah, whereas male journalists would probably be told they were being, like,
Brave and
sharp or
smart. Yeah.
inquisitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or what a
And
fantastic angle. What a fantastic
yeah,
question. Right.
yeah.
But I
So it's
also
like
think, you know,
that
in
old thing, got to work twice as hard for half the credit.
yeah, well, same old, I think in every
Yeah.
profession, unfortunately. which is why it's so important, I think, to meet men and women, as we were talking, or we will talk about in the last episode we record, which is a recap of 9 and 10, how important it is to meet the right mentor, right? So
Yes.
we see Bent as an excellent mentor. We see Hannah as an excellent mentor. These people are not hiding their skills and experience. They want to share it with people. And that's the mark of a great professional and friend, from Bent to Brigitte, you know?
Yes.
And yeah, go ahead.
Oh, keep going. No, keep going.
No, I just wanted to say, no, you should go, because my point is another point. So go ahead.
So is mine. I was going to say, one of the other things that I like, speaking of like the fact that Hannah is a, you know, a middle-aged woman in like mid-career, and like, you know, she doesn't look, she's not, it's not some 30-year-old actress playing someone older. You know, it's like the actors who play the age of the character they are. Like Bent is a political veteran. And what's he look like as an actor? He's like a short guy. He's a little bit paunchy. You know, he's got the graying. There's another well-groomed beard, actually. I mean, he has slightly longer hair because his
hair is a bit messy though, but that's okay.
Yeah. But it's almost a nod to like, you know, his youth as a like probably 1960s young politician, you know, 1960s, 70s. He was probably young in the 70s, right? Mm-hmm. So he has that kind of like almost like lefty look, a little bit unkempt, but not quite. Mm-hmm. And you see all these different body types. Like there's super long and lanky Huxhaven. There's, you know, like Philip is pretty fit. Mm-hmm. Like, I know he's naughty and we don't like him at the end of the season one, but like,
no, he's got a good body. There was a scene I remember where he was wearing a tank top.
Oh yeah.
Right. A white tank top. Yeah. I know you remember that very well.
I think he's hot. That actor is hot.
I think he's hot too. I think he's a very, very attractive man. And I do see the appeal in him, like from his looks, but also in the beginning, he was a very, like, I would sync with him very well. And I would, you know, that would be someone who would be a friend in my life. You know, I think he's great. But actually, Amy, we're so in sync because that's exactly what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about the casting and the looks of these people. So I'll just continue on of what you said. Yeah, we see different ages. Yeah. We see different genders in non-gender conforming roles. We don't see the women at home cooking and baking and driving up and down. They're in power positions, right? We also, you know, we could also comment on the looks of these characters. And if you contrast the casting in Borgen as compared to any North American series, to me, and if you take other British series as well, the people in that, they're not super, what America considers supermodel. They don't look like that. They look like
they don't all, they don't all go to the same Hollywood surgeons.
Exactly.
Their teeth aren't super hyper white
to get certain, you know, things done to them.
Yeah, and the clinics, their teeth aren't hyper white. You know, it's like you don't have that like Hollywood ding smile. Like there's diversity in, people look like real people. Even Katrine, who's like the young hot journalist, like her body's not perfect. She works out all the time, like, you know,
her body's not perfect, but also I think her look is not centerfold either.
Yeah, no, she's not, right? You know, she's not like, she's not model pretty. She's not unattractive by any means.
No, she's whatsoever. Average. And this is why I feel a connection.
She's character.
This is someone who's believable.
Yeah.
Right. Like an ordinary gal who worked hard and she made it and she's making it. She's progressing and she's doing well in her career and making a name for herself in the industry.
Yeah. And like Sana, the secretary, the redhead secretary, is more conventionally good looking than the actress who plays Katrine. Yeah. But they both are very good characters and they're both excellent actresses. Like there are, you know, I would love to be able to see that. I'm going to look for some of these actors and actresses in other roles. Like obviously, Pilu Atbeck, he's around. He's been in Game of Thrones. Like you can't get much more bigger than that as far as big series in the last few years have come out. Sidse Babuk Knudsen is in quite a few films.
Mhm.
and series. And,
Yeah, we
you
talked
know,
about it. So she was in
yeah,
Burgundy, which was done by Peter Strickland in,
yes.
I think it was like 2015. And the thing that struck me about that is the visuals. And I talked about it in a bonus episode that we called Brigitte Nyborg. And
Mhm.
what I forgot to expand on in that was how visually stunning that film was. And I don't think you've seen it, Amy, but you've heard me
No,
talk
I
about it
haven't.
ad nauseum because I was so entranced by her character in this show, in this movie. Um, but the visual beauty, it was about studying butterflies. That was her. She was a butterfly scientist, and so you would
Yes.
see the beauty of these butterflies. You would hear, like, when they flap their wings, like the director, he would enhance the sound. Like, it was
Yes.
just, it was beautiful. So we've seen
Hmm.
her in that. We've seen her in Westworld. She was in a film with Tom Hanks, whose name
Yep.
film escapes me title right now. She was in that film that you saw, Wildland.
Wildland. Yeah. Where she plays like a mafia boss. It's
Yeah,
completely different role. Yeah.
yeah,
And
and of
different
course.
look. And like, she's strong and powerful in that too, you
Mhm.
know?
But talking about other things they've done, so I actually I follow some European actresses that I really like.
Hmm.
And one of them starred in a show that I was really wanting to see. And I had Googled it and searched, how could I see this show, this Norwegian show called Aberbergen? And I
Hmm.
found this platform called MHZ Choice.
Yep.
And so I've been scanning what do they put out from Norway? What do they put out from Sweden? What do they put out
Yep.
from Denmark? And they also have other countries too, like Poland. And I saw something from
Yep.
Hungary recently, a film. But when I looked, I saw the guy that plays Torben. He's on a
Yep.
series on Netflix,
Yep.
Scandinavian series. He has a main
Yep.
role. I think it has something to do with diving, some
Yes. That's
crime
right.
that
Yes.
happens. Yes, so he's in that. And then the woman that plays Katrine, she's in a series that they have on MHZ Choice. I saw her face. Maybe in this conversation I'll be able to pull it up. But it's great to see what
Hmm.
else they do. Um, beyond,
Yep. I've seen
um,
Amir, the guy who plays, yeah, I've seen the guy who plays Amir in um a show called Trapped from Iceland, which was really good. I think he either plays a military or police chief, something to do with, I can't remember exactly, but he's in there and he plays a fairly main role in another series that's on Netflix right now where he does play a police chief, I think.
mhm.
It's a crime investigation show, and he's
Actually,
really good as well.
it's nice to see them in different roles, isn't it? So I have
Yeah,
pulled up the
I know that guy.
MHZ. I pulled up, what's that?
I'm like, you're like, I know that guy. you
I
know.
know that guy. Yeah, it's like I said, it's nice to see them outside of Borgen. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm on the MHZ Choice website now. So the show that the actress that plays Katrine did is called Gray
What's her
Zone.
What's her name? Gray Zone.
Um,
Yeah, that's good.
Gray Zone. It's a crime show. And they don't have her name here, but we are going to get her name. Yeah.
I'm terrible with names sometimes. I don't even know my students' names. I call them by the wrong name sometimes. They totally clown me for doing that too, which
I
is
know.
I deserve.
So
There
her name is Brigitte, actually, in real life.
you go.
Hort, Hjort Sorensen is her name.
Hjort Sorensen. Hjort. I
And
think
the
it'd
guy
be
that plays
Hjort.
Torben is Soren Malling.
Soren Malling. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I knew that.
yeah, so he's in a Netflix show right now, which I may not be able to call up. Let me see what else I had written down here to talk about. Yeah, that was it. Just those characters. I don't know if there's anything else you want to talk about. Um,
I just wanted to point out in the episode that happens around Christmas time, I can't remember if I mentioned this in the main part of the episode. I might have, but like the Christmas tree in the PM's office is not fancy. It looks like a Charlie Brown tree. It's kind of small and it's kind of sparse and it's very natural looking. It's not like a 10-foot tall, like perfect Douglas fir that you would see at the White House or something, all decorated in one color. It looks very homey. And I just thought that was like such a good detail. Like it's such a humble detail, It's not ostentatious. It's not showy. It's like it's like homey Christmas. I just thought that was nice,
Yeah.
as an interior detail.
Yeah. And it also speaks to the rest of the show, how things are minimalist. They don't have to be big and extravagant, right? For it to make the point. And I think that's one of the successes of the show. And even reading about this show and how it was perceived, apparently the people putting the show together were doubting that it would be a hit, because who wants to know a story about the prime minister and their life? But they were wrong. And apparently, I think someone was quoted on the cast to say, people were very, very intrigued by it, because who has seen the bathroom of the prime minister in
exactly.
So it's things like that people are intrigued by.
Yeah. And I thought it's interesting because it also humanizes people in those roles, right? Like all of a sudden you have these people in these power positions, but they're just people, they're elected people. They're people they're from the public. They're just people like everybody else.
Yeah, it humanizes them. And of course, we know, I've read this as well, since Borgen started, they actually nominated a real life female PM during the series.
Yes.
And I know that, I think I saw an interview with Cici Babbitt Knudsen, who said, basically that was in the background, like she didn't pay much attention to it because like that's separate from the show, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It doesn't have anything to do with the show. So yeah. So any other thoughts or ideas on interiors or wardrobe before we wrap this?
No, just jackets. I want all those jackets.
I like the jackets too. If I have to dress somewhere nicely, it's always a nice blazer with a nice cut top inside, and it's very stylish and cool and timeless too.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So with that, we have one more episode coming up after this, which is the season 9 and 10 recap. And then we're going to close off season 1, and we will start to record season 2. So watch out for those episodes. Check out our website, follow us on social media. We'd like to thank our listeners for joining us on this episode. You can check us out on our website, theborgenpodcast.com, where all of our episodes are archived, and you can learn more about us and the show. We'd like to thank our good friend Garth Jensen for providing us our intro and outro music. Thank you very much, Garth. And lastly, don't forget to check us out on all social media platforms. We are there, and we'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to connect with us and share what's on your mind using the hashtag The Borgen Podcast, or by sending us an email or voice memo at theborgenpodcast@gmail.com.